Welcome to the PBC 2020 NBA Draft Remote Film Room. My name is Jon Chepkevich, and I'm the Director of Scouting for the Professional Basketball Combine. With me today, we have second team All Big East forward and 2020 NBA Draft early entrant, Paul Reed. What's going on, Paul?
What's up, guys?
How you doing, man? Holding up, hold up here in Chicago like me. I think we're only a few miles away from each other, but practicing our social distancing, not getting together and, going through the game film in person. But I thought we could kind of go through some of your tape here. What makes you an interesting NBA prospect on both ends of the court? Maybe some areas that you could improve that'll make you an even better NBA player when the time rolls around. And we could just kind of talk some shop about film real quick. That sound good to you?
Yeah, that sounds great.
All right, let's do it. So we're going to start here with some of your strengths on the offensive end of the court. And I think where you bring the most value is with your energy and your athleticism and effort. So here we'll see you snag the rebound, you start running the court, you realize that you've beat your big man down the court, see he's trailing you by quite a bit here, and you put that hand in the air, making it obvious to your point guard here that you have an opportunity there to knife to the rim and get an easy bucket. So I really like on this one how you snag that board and then you have that motor and energy to get the whole way down the court, call for the ball, and finish here. Is, I guess whenever you snag a rebound, are you immediately looking for an outlet? And then do you know, because you're oftentimes a lot more athletic than some of the bigs that you're facing, that you can beat them down the court and get some easy looks? Like, what's going through your mind as soon as you snag a board?
Well, it's different at the college level because it's more of like a set you got to play in. So in college, I had to, like when I snagged rebounds, I had to give it to the guard and run the floor. Feel me? That's what I was told to do. So that's what I did.
So you think maybe that even at the next level, depending on what your matchup is, that you might even be able to kind of push it out on your own and initiate some breaks as well?
Yeah, that's what I used to do in high school.
Yeah, because you used to, I think when you were coming out of high school, you were like maybe a 6'5", 6'6" wing, right? But you kind of grew a little bit in college. And so DePaul used you a lot at the 4 and at the 5. And I mean, I think that's still going to be kind of your position that you play at the next level, right? But I think that you do have some of that natural like wing ability as well to be able to get out in the open court and run like this. So I definitely appreciate that about your offensive game.
Yes, sir.
So this next one here, you're going to see you come flying in from out at near the 3-point line, and you're able to get this put back dunk. So see if we pause this right here, you're the whole way out right now. You're beyond the 3-point line when this guy's putting up that runner, and you can see your man has his back turned to you, but he's not, he's not checking you. He's not getting a body on you. He's not boxing out, right? He's not turning and finding you. And it seems like you immediately recognize that, and you can tell you're already kind of bent and flexible and like about to dart toward the rim on this, and you might get an opportunity for an easy dunk here. I can see you smiling right now. I can see like that has to be kind of what's going through your mind there, right? You're like, I might have an opportunity to just punch this right on someone's head on a tip dunk, right? So when you're in this position right here, like what's going through your mind? Is it something like that? Like, what are you thinking?
Oh, if he missed this shot, I'm going to get this rebound.
Yeah, and I mean, I think offensive rebounding is definitely somewhere that you could add value at the next level too, because like, you're capable of playing out on the perimeter a little bit, like we were saying, and you can get that sort of full head of steam there, gather into your tip slam like that. And I think you're a really nice defensive rebounder, but also can bring a lot of value on the offensive end by, putting forth that effort. And like in an even more spaced NBA, if you maybe run a pick and pop or something, right, and you're kind of freed up out on the perimeter, but somebody, say the guard drives, you could crash in just like this in an even more spaced out NBA, and there will be plenty of room for you to get in there and crash the glass and make an impact that way.
Oh, that's great. That's all I need in more space. I ain't realized.
Yeah, I think that'll do wonders for your game, and I mean, you'll be able to even take it up a notch there. All right, next play here. So working it around the perimeter a little bit. I see you're over in the right corner here, kind of with your butt to the baseline there, like kind of in between the corner and the dunker spot, right? And you're reading what's happening here. Comes to you in the corner, and you see this guy was kind of playing up the passing lane a little bit, maybe a little too much, right?
Yeah.
And I like your recognition to see that, like, see how off balance he is here, like leaning diagonally there. And you see that, and you see this lane here to drive the baseline, and you immediately, you don't even hesitate. You take that dribble. You see 44s coming, weak side rotation to try to help on you, right? And, rather than just like, caving to that and going up on the right side of the rim here, you have the dexterity and the wherewithal to kind of recognize that he's about to jump and try to block your shot here. So you use the rim to kind of protect against the shot blocker and bring it around and flush it reverse right here. And that's just a hell of an athletic play and a really good read by you in this situation. You want to maybe talk through, if we get this back to the top of the play, as the guard's bringing it over this way, like what's going through your mind? Like what are you sort of reading, as you're out there in the corner and watching this play develop?
Let me space out so we can have, spacing important so I can have a lane if I get the ball.
Yeah, so I see you you kind of bounce out a little bit to go receive this pass. And then when you're right here, are you, I guess at this point, like you're obviously eyeing up that you have a lane to drive baseline, but are you already sort of like seeing this help side rim protection and thinking about, okay, as soon as I get this and drive, that guy's going to be there? Are you anticipating that? Like what's going through your mind as it means to combat the help side guy there?
I seen the dude cheating up, so I knew I had a lane. I didn't know he was going to step up like that. I would have tried to dunk it on the right side, but he stepped up, so I know I had to make the adjustment and finish on the other side of the rim.
Yeah, and that's like it's a good like in the moment reaction, right? Just like, you thought you might have that righty layup, he comes across, and then you kind of recognize it, and in a split second, you're able to make that decision to bring it up and under. So I really appreciated that play and thought it was particularly impressive for you on the offensive end. I think you can definitely, especially if your shooting gets a little more consistent, right? Like these guys are going to have to really respect you out on the perimeter as a shooter, especially in the corner like you were there. So if you're able to be have that gravity as a shooter, these guys are going to have to respect you and close out, and you're going to be able to attack them off closeouts like that all the time, and either, create a easy look for yourself like that, or maybe dish it off or skip it to the corner. Like I think there's a lot of room for you to add a lot of value in attacking closeouts at the next level.
Me too.
All right, next here, we see you're kind of floating out here on the perimeter. You relocate over to the weak side here, still over on the weak side, and you're not even in the frame right now, right? Like you're the whole way down in this corner. But I think what you end up recognizing, we'll see when we start this back up again, is that, your guy's here in decent help position, but his head's not really on a swivel, right? Like he should have his right hip opened up a little bit more so he can keep that peripheral vision and still see you and the ball. But you recognize that he loses track of you here, and you just kind of like sneak your way back behind him, make a nice cut here. Guy finds you, easy layup. And I mean that, the guy is only a split second behind, even though he didn't recognize what was going on, almost gets to it. But your recognition of that play gives you that like half a step advantage to get the easy bucket. You want to maybe talk through, like, as you see, your guard kind of drive into the elbow there, are you like recognizing that, he might drive and kick and that your guy might help even more, and that might open up the baseline for you to cut? Like how did you determine at that moment that like this might be an opportune time for me to get an easy bucket on a cut here?
I like moving without the ball, so that's why I went to the corner first.
Right.
So I could face side move, and then I don't know. I think I was thinking he was going to shoot. Maybe I go in and get the rebound.
Yeah.
But when he passed it to JB, I seen that it was wide open.
Yeah. So you're already kind of on the way to the rim thinking that your guard might put up a floater or something, and similar to that earlier play, you could like crash in, but this time from the baseline and maybe get a tip slam or a putback or something. But once he kicks it over there, then you kind of adjust on the fly and you're like, oh, okay, let me just fly down to this opposite block and just get this easy lay in, right? So I think you did the right thing initially and then did the right thing with the secondary action there once he kicked it out. And I think, your ability to recognize those situations is definitely, a positive way for you to add value on the offensive end at the next level.
Yeah, playing at DePaul taught me how to move. I mean, like play without the ball in my hands.
Yeah, and I think that's going to be key for you, right? Because we alluded to that you had the ball a lot more in your hands in high school and everything, out on the perimeter. But like the way you're going to add value a lot in the NBA, like you can do it sometimes with the ball in your hands, but a lot of it is going to be, you reading and reacting without the ball in your hands. And I think that, it might have been a blessing in disguise that, DePaul played you a lot more on the interior in college, just so now you have sort of experience in doing both, like being a wing in high school, being a big in college, and now like you have that versatile skill set to be able to contribute in multiple ways and be able to function off ball in these sorts of ways and like find ways to score even without being like a high usage guy with the ball in your hands all the time. That'll be helpful in the NBA when you're playing alongside like established vets that are more of shot creators and whatnot. Like you can add value in all these ancillary ways.
Yeah, that's what I'm excited about. I can't wait.
Yeah, I definitely foresee that being a good avenue for you offensively. What we're going to touch on here now, I think, got a little drive and kick action. And then this, I love this play. This was kind of, I think, maybe indicative of what some of your upside is as an on-ball creator, right? We just talked about all the off-ball stuff, but like there might be instances where like you're a good athlete, like you're a good fluid athlete, and you might have, depending on matchups, you might have a more slow-footed big on you in the NBA, right? Like depending on the other team's rotations and your team that you land on in matchups. And in this situation, you start driving to the left. This guy seems to be like a little bit slower and less athletic than you. And the fact that you have this face-up potential to be able to drive like that with your left, whip it behind your back, and then fluidly finish on the right side. I mean, I think that's just indicative of some of your upside and potential ability to grow as a face-up guy when you get matchups that you particularly like and can take advantage of. You want to maybe speak to like, when you get this ball at the top here, you fly up to the top, get this kick out. What are you thinking right here when you're about to, attack a big off the dribble that you have like a quickness and athleticism advantage against?
Oh, get to the rim by any means. And I knew I was gonna have to. I mean, yeah, that's all I was thinking. Be aggressive, get to the rim.
Right. So like, I guess this guy, he's already, you would think that maybe he would backpedal a little bit more against you, right? Like since he knows that you have that quickness advantage, but he kind of like tries to be aggressive and really cut you off at the top with the point of attack there. And like your split second reaction to whip that behind your back, that's like something that you typically see out of like high level guards, right? So that with you being, kind of like a 4 or 5 combo type guy, to be able to have that face-up ability and the dexterity to pull that off, I think is promising as you continue to grow and develop your game at the next level.
Yeah, I feel like I can dribble a little bit though. Like I got the numbers. I just don't be using them all the time.
Yeah, I think you can dribble a little bit too, and I think that like that'll be something good in addition to the shooting for you to work on, so that you're a well-rounded face-up guy, right? Like you can dribble, you have the foundation to dribble, the foundation to shoot, and if like you focus your training and your off-season work on that kind of stuff, that'll even open your game up even more, I think.
I agree.
All right, so I think next we're going to move on to some shooting clips here. So I think I want to start with the fact that I think that you have like a good baseline for shooting, right? Like you're a 73, 74% free throw shooter, which is solid, right? Like you shot 40+% from 3 last year. But then this year, your volume went up a little bit, but we saw the efficiency decline down closer to 30%. So I think what we want to just talk through here is maybe some of why there is a little bit of inconsistency there, and what you can do to brush that up and become like a really nice potential pick and pop threat in the NBA, because I think that's where you could add value if you get this jumper more consistent, right?
Yeah.
So we'll start with a couple of makes here. So this, I particularly like this because I think, let me run this back to the beginning of the play. So you'll see that you go through on this wheel cut and you get knocked to the ground, right? You're laying on the block down here, you get kind of knocked off balance, but you don't give up on the play, right? You get back up, you pop out and relocate to the three. Nice fluid catch there, knock down the three, right? So I like to see, you know, that effort and your ability to not give up on the play. So that's definitely a plus in and of itself. Now let's watch one more made three here, where again, you relocate up to the top here. Nice, you hop nicely right into the catch here. So it's a nice fluid all-in-one motion release, right?
Yes, sir.
Nice release there, nice make. Now we're going to touch on maybe a couple of the, you know, a couple misses and maybe some of the inconsistencies in your mechanics that if you just, you know, make very slight tweaks and adjustments, then maybe you're getting up closer to like a high 30% shooter going forward, because we know you have the range to stick it from NBA too, right?
Yes, sir.
So let's take a look at this one. You set this little pick and roll here and you end up popping off of this. So I think, like we were saying, that's going to be a place for you to add value at the NBA level is in pick and pop. And you have the space here, right? Your guys the whole way down below the free throw line, and you're lining it up at the top of the key. But it seems like there's a little maybe bit of a hitch in like your shot on this one. You'll see like, you know, your feet are flying a little bit more forward on this one, and there's just like a little, it's just not like super fluid on it, right? There's just like a slight little adjustment that I think if you get with an NBA shooting coach, like you have the high release, right? Like having that high release and the length is great, and that helps you be able to get it off against big defenders. But I think if we get some of your lower body and your landing spot a little more consistent, you're going to be knocking those down at a really high clip at the next level. So we'll watch one more here where your guard kind of drives baseline, draws a lot of help. You're spotting up from three here. You have lots of space again, but it's just like a slight little like hitch in your giddy up there that like if you can work with an NBA shooting coach to just get that more into like a one motion shot as opposed to like the upper body and lower body not being as conjoined in the motion, I think you could develop into a really nice shooter at the next level when it's all said and done.
Me too. Like last year, when I shot, my 3-point percentage was like in 40%.
Yeah.
I was working with my coach on my shot mechanics a lot.
Yeah.
And that really helped me. But you know, we kind of slowed it down. I was supposed to remember like all my shot mechanics, but I think I got to keep working on it like more consistently, just like every day.
Yeah, and I think there's, you know, you'll as a pro, you'll obviously you won't have to worry about school anymore, any of that other stuff, right? You can focus on being a pro, and this is your day in, day out, and like you'll be getting way more reps and, you know, be working with specific shooting coaches. I think that it'll all kind of come together in that environment, right?
Yeah, that's what I'm excited about too. Like just how much better I'm gonna get at the next level with the resources and like the facilities and stuff.
Yeah, all of that's going to
like
be huge.
Schools.
Yeah, and you're going to be able to, you know, you're going to be able to really focus in, and it's good to hear that like you already have that desire to get better and desire to like take advantage of all those resources. And I think when teams are, you know, looking for players that they're going to consider drafting, you know, somebody already having that mindset that they want to be able to get in there and they have all this available for them to get better and they want to do that work, I think teams really appreciate that.
Oh yeah, I mean I'm a worker though. That's how I got to where I'm at now. I just try to like outwork everybody. Like if I go to a team, and make sure that I'm working harder than everybody.
Yeah, and that's what I've heard in you know, having some conversations with people who've seen you grow and develop as a player in high school to where you are now. Everything that they've said is that you've always been a hard worker. You've always wanted to be in the gym and to outwork everybody. So that's definitely a plus in the intangibles and off-court column for you, as teams are going to be, you know, going around doing their digging and getting intel on all the off-court stuff. I think that, you know, your work ethic is definitely a plus. And if you can keep that and continue to grow that as a pro, that'll make you be able to stay in the NBA and be an impact player for a long time. All right, so we're going to move back over to the defensive side of the ball here, where I think you particularly thrive and are going to be able to add value right off the bat in the NBA. I think that this is just like a, clear translation in your build and your athleticism and your ability to kind of read what's happening within the flow of like your opposition's offensive sets, and your ability to recognize like when to help off your guy and stop the ball for help side rim protection or jump passing lane. So we're going to run through a few of these clips and go through particularly some of your nice off ball reads. So we see here you stop your guy out on the left wing here. He kicks it back out to the top. Ball rotates around. Guy comes off a pick and roll, starts breaking it down, and like you can see you're kind of eyeballing it and cheating here, right? Which is good. Like you're getting in to help. And you recognize that this guard, and maybe partly it's knowing the scouting report too, that this guy like likes to get to the cup and like maybe isn't looking as much for these kickouts. And you do the right thing. And when he kind of like gets to the middle here, you start stepping over, you recognize, hey, like my man's the whole way over in this corner. He's probably not getting the ball. He's not that much of a threat. And if that point guard makes that pass in this moment the whole way out there, good for him, right? That's a heck of a read. But you do the right thing and you step over here and stop the ball, and we let this run. Great timing to get up there, block it, and get a transition opportunity for your team going the other way. So do you want to maybe talk through, like, as you see this play developing here, and you're kind of like, in between your guy and the help side, like what causes you to keep moving further and further toward the middle and then eventually make that commit for the help side rim protection?
Yeah, I knew I was like the last line of defense, so I just know when the dude driving, I got to be the one to like not let him score. Like I know Charlie, point guard, he wasn't gonna block it, so I was just trying to help.
Yeah, and like that's good awareness that maybe Charlie's not, he's a really good offensive player, but like he might have, the other guy's a little stronger than him, a little like excels at getting to the rim, and you recognize that, your teammates, their scouting, right? And so you step over, do the right thing, and then have the great timing and vertical pop to get up there. And I like how you keep the ball in bounds too, right? Like you're not just swatting it into the stands like maybe you could have. You keep it off the backboard there, and that creates a transition opportunity for you guys.
Yeah. That's
so this next one here, we're going to see that right now you're helping out in the paint a little bit. Your guy's in the corner. We'll pause it right here. Your teammate's man beats him off the dribble over here on the left wing, right? You can see he's off balance, see that he's getting to the cup, and the ball side corner here isn't really able to dig in and help in time.
Yeah.
But you, as the weak side guy, you can see your head facing over here. You're recognizing exactly what's going on. So right in this moment, you want to maybe talk through like, are you like, how are you deciding to commit to that and leave your guy over in the corner? It seems like you have a really good knack for knowing exactly when to, leave your assignment and commit to the help side rim protection.
Yeah, I just knew he was trying to go shoot. I knew he was going to shoot. I knew he was going to go up with that. So, and I knew I could do something about it. It was like an instinct. Like I knew like exactly what he was going to do.
Right. And that's like, yeah. And that's like a good way to put it too, right? It's your instincts. And sometimes it's like, you can study as much film as you want, and then it eventually just becomes ingrained in your brain. Like, the game, right? Like, that when that guy's getting to the cup, that, hey, that's the biggest threat on the court right now. And if I can get over there, I have the natural like ability to get up there and block shots, and I have good instincts for the timing and can get off the floor quickly. And that just has become a part of your game. And what I particularly like about this one is if we look at the clock here, you're less than 2 minutes into the game, right? It's only 3-0. And this guy gets to the cup and you let him know early on, like you're making a statement that like, this is my house, this is my paint, like you're not getting to the cup against us. It's just sending a message early on, and like throughout the rest of the game, that guy might be a little more hesitant to come in there again, right?
Yeah, that was a statement game.
Yeah, I mean, I love to see that, and like you can tell you still got the adrenaline pumping from the beginning of the game. You can tell you're pumped up like about getting that block, and that gives your teammates a little bit more energy too, right? Like gets
Yeah,
everybody going. So I think that that's some value you can add at the next level too, is being kind of like, even as a rookie, you could be that guy that comes into the game, makes a few energy blocks, causes a couple deflections, and like that can get your teammates going and really like be impactful to, making a nice run and like eventually, can help win the game.
yeah, baby.
So this one here, I think this is particularly impressive because you guys are down a little bit. You're down 9 with 2 minutes left. So you guys need to make something happen, right? Like,
Yeah,
if you let them cross half court and run 30 seconds off the clock, or you start playing the fouling game now, you're probably not going to catch up, but you still have enough time to try to trap and make a steal and make something happen. And I like your energy here. You're jumping up and down, sticking with the guy, get your hands in there, go up and finish it. And so that's the best thing you could do in that situation to help get your teammates back in the game.
yeah. I remember that game. Uh,
And then
I used
this
to.
one here, I think, there are a good amount of NBA offenses that'll start like this with these guys at the elbows, and maybe a big pops out, they pass it to them and initiate like a handoff or something to get the possession going, right? But
Yeah,
you recognize that the big man wasn't like giving you any physical resistance and sealing you off to receive that pass, and B, the point guard was maybe a little bit aloof and like lazy and tossing it over there. And you kind of like, I can see you sort of calculating all that, and you're like, all right, I'm gonna jump in there and I'm gonna get this thing and get us a fast break opportunity. So you have the length, right? You have a 7-foot plus wingspan. Am I right there?
yeah,
So you have the length to kind of reach in there, get that deflection, and then you have the athleticism in the open court to just take 2 dribbles from almost 3/4 of the way down the court, right? Like you poke this at that 3-point line, and
yeah,
then just 2 dribbles from half court, are able to flush it with a little flavor on that one. I like to see that. All right, last play here. This is another one where you get out into the get some pressure out top here, right? You're defending the whole way out near half court, and you can tell your guy's not comfortable handling and wants to get it back to that other guard, right? And you sort of recognize that, you get up in him a little bit, and then he's going to try to force it over to this guy that's coming to help him out. So you end up getting your other hand up in that passing lane and kind of poke it out, and are able to get out here. And again, this is another one of those near the end of the game situations where you're down by 6, you need to make something happen for your team. And I feel like you're consistently the guy to do that brings the energy and is able to, bring your team back into the game and give you guys some momentum to potentially catch up in these late game situations. So particularly like that one as well. And I guess, after watching all that, do you want to just maybe speak to, you've developed this reputation as being one of the most impactful defenders in the draft this year. And your combination of blocks and steals, the rate statistics, the totals are all off the charts, right? Like you run a bunch of statistical queries and see like guys in the past 10 years that have done some of the certain things you've done in that regard. It's very limited lists, and most of those lists are guys who've gone on to be really good pros. So how did you sort of develop this knack for making all these impact plays on D?
I think it's like my motive and I just competitive. I want to win, and I just be trying to win.
Yeah, and I mean, if that's like the catalyst for everything that you do, like if both on and off the court, if your thought is what can I do to help my team win games, no matter what team it is that you're on, I think
Yeah,
that's only going to help you continue to grow, and that's going to make a team fall in love with you and like want to keep you around and want to like give you more minutes, right?
yeah. Hopefully, yeah.
Yeah. So hey, really loved going into all that, and really loved breaking down all that tape with you, hearing your perspective on how you see the game, how you read and react, and maybe talking through some things that you'll be able to contribute with immediately, and some areas that you can continue to grow and develop. But as we wrap up here, in light of the uncertainty surrounding this pre-draft process, right, with COVID-19 and with the sort of inability to be traveling to teams and interviewing and working out with them in person, and the NBA combine is up in the air, all this stuff, right? What I wanted to do is sort of give you the stage now to express to NBA teams who is Paul Reed, and if they're to bring you into their organization, what can they expect both on and off the court from you?
Well, Paul Reed is a good kid. Loves to play basketball. Like, I'm always want to play with the guys. Whoever on my team, I love my teammates. And family oriented. And I love God. So that's what kind of guy you're gonna get on and off the court. On the court, you're gonna get the guy who's gonna give 110% and play like hard as I can, make plays. I might mess up a little bit, but I'm gonna play hard. I'm going 110%. I gotta learn. I don't know everything, so I know that's a lot for me to learn. Coming in like humble, off the court. I'm working. Off the court, I'm working.
Yeah, and I think that's all any team can ask for, right? Like someone who is, self-aware of what they bring to the table, what they can work on, and is really willing to put in that work. So, I look forward to seeing how this pre-draft process develops for you and how your pro career develops. I've seen you play quite a few times here in Chicago at DePaul. I've been really impressed, and I feel like you're one of the more plug and play translatable forward prospects in this draft. And I really look forward to seeing all the success to come for you in your career.
Thank you. I'm so excited about it.
Of course, man. Now, hey, listen to Mayor Lightfoot and stay inside, man. Stay safe out there. Good luck with everything as you proceed forward. And thanks for joining. Really appreciate it, Paul.
Hey, thank you for having me.